The beauty of homemaking is finding the joy in the mundane things that you do over and over and over again. And that's truly what I'm learning. And so I figured, what better place to start this video than in the kitchen making dinner, because I do that most nights. And so I figured that would be a perfect place to start this video. Tonight I am just making a pretty quick and easy dinner. I didn't really have a plan, I was just kind of going along with the flow, but I'm just cooking up some tuna and a little bit of butter, just sauteing it around and getting some whole wheat noodles going. I'm also prepping a loaf of sourdough for the weekend because I don't like running out, so I was trying to get that in the oven while dinner was cooking. So here I just added a little bit more butter so that it could saute a bit more, and then I was going to go ahead and start my sauce. The goal of this meal was to be kind of a tuna and pea creamy pasta dish, I guess. So I just added some more butter, a bit of milk, a bit of sour cream, and some Parmesan cheese. Gave that a stir, let it sit for a bit and cook. You can see my little helper is always there. So I just kind of added everything together and it had really good flavor. I was kind of surprised. I didn't know exactly how it would turn out, but I was pleasantly surprised. So now I'm just adding some garlic powder. I think I added some onion powder as well, and some salt and pepper. Frozen peas and gave that all a good stir together. And then I just let it sit for a bit so that the peas could warm up and cook through, even though they're frozen, cooked already, but I just wanted them to heat up and warm through. So then I'm getting the noodles going, got those thawed, and then what I ended up doing is I put those back into the pot and I added a little bit of butter to the noodles before I added in the sauce. And that kind of helped them not stick, and I don't know, it helped the sauce and everything kind of pair up together. So while I'm cooking, I've had this rhubarb sitting in my kitchen for a few days and I really need to do something with it before it goes bad. So I am just processing that, cutting it up and getting it into a bag. My bread needed to be rotated. For some reason our oven, it cooks a little bit more on the back side, so I have to remember to rotate things around while I'm baking or it gets overly cooked on one side. So I'm just adding these rhubarbs into a Ziploc bag. I'm gonna try not to let them sit in the freezer too long. I want to try to make a strawberry rhubarb pie or something like that. The rhubarb is very abundant around here, which is really nice, and so I want to try to use it up while it's in season. So here I just added all of the sauce back in with the noodles, or in with the noodles for the first time, I should say. Gave it all a good stir. It was really, really tasty. Sometimes tuna is a little bit questionable, especially while I'm pregnant. I don't necessarily want a ton of it, but it was really, really good added in with the creamy sauce and put over noodles. Caleb had played in the kitchen and at the table all day this day, and so I was just trying to get things cleaned up so that we could enjoy dinner around the table. so I was just getting his cake ready. I was adding a cup of water, a half a cup of sourdough starter, a half a cup of coconut oil, and 2 cups of flour, and adding that all together. And this actually sat overnight. It's a recipe from Farmhouse on Boone. I was a little bit nervous trying a new sourdough recipe that was going to be served to guests and not just kept for my family and I. But thankfully it turned out really well. So the dough portion sat overnight, which was pretty handy and easy to just get going, and then we could move on to other things. So after our son went to bed for the night, we spent the evening decorating the house so that he could wake up to it and be excited. All of these birthday decorations that I got for him were extremely affordable. So if you were trying to plan a birthday celebration on a budget and do that in a frugal way, this is how we did it. I was just kind of going for not really any particular theme, but just like a nostalgic theme with a bunch of fun colors. You know, he's only 2, so it didn't really need a specific theme. I got the balloons and the banners and pretty much everything from the Dollar Tree, or the $1.25 tree now, I guess I should say. And it was just extremely affordable, which is what we needed, and he was really, really happy about it all. So it was a super fun thing to treat him to and to see him wake up to the next morning. For his birthday celebration breakfast, I am just cutting into the sourdough loaf that was made last night, and we are going to be making some strawberry stuffed French toast. There it is. This recipe is very, very easy and super delicious. It kind of makes a simple recipe something fancy, but not in a difficult way. So there I just added some cream cheese and honey, stirred that, let it sit out to kind of soften. And then I just put 2 eggs, a couple splashes of half and half, a bit of vanilla extract, and some maple syrup into a bowl, whisked that all together. And that's going to be the base for your French toast to dip in. And you just slice up your strawberries and get those ready to be loaded on. And then I'm just going in and adding a bit of nutmeg and a little bit of cinnamon, and once again whisking all of that together. Basically, the idea is you are making a sandwich and you dip the whole sandwich into your egg mixture. So I'm just spreading the honey cream cheese mixture onto the bread. Normally this recipe calls for brioche bread, but I just decided to use the sourdough loaf that I made the night before. And I think it was actually, I'm not going to say better, but I enjoyed it. I feel like it balanced out the sweet and sour flavors, which added a nice touch. So you just smear the sour cream on both sides, add your finely chopped strawberries, and put it together just like a sandwich. Dip it into your egg mixture, just like regular French toast. Plop it down on the cast iron skillet and let it cook. It was super, super, super tasty. So now I'm just cleaning up from breakfast. I really try to clean in between every single meal, or in between everything that I cook. I'm going to be putting out a video next about my homemaking habits that I feel like really help my home run a little bit smoother every day. So that'll be coming out next, but that's something that I always try to do. So after breakfast, I'm just finishing up the cake. So here I'm adding 2 cups of raw sugar, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of pretty fine ground coffee. It calls for finely ground. I just used regular coffee that we have on hand. And then whisk that all together. Like I said, this is a Farmhouse on Boone recipe, and I've really been enjoying all of her sourdough recipes recently. So adding in 2 eggs to this. Two teaspoons of vanilla. And then 3/4 cups of cocoa powder, a cup of whole milk. Whisk that mixture together. And then you're going to add in the sourdough dough portion that you started the night before that fermented overnight. You add that into the cocoa liquid mixture, and it takes a little bit to combine it all together, but I finally got it after a little while. It probably would have been a lot easier if I had a stand mixer, but I don't, so I've just been doing everything by hand, which is fine. And then finally you add 2 teaspoons of baking soda to that and whisk it all together. I got this disposable cake pan from the Dollar Tree because I figured that would just be quick and easy, and so that's why I put his cake in. Then you just throw it into the oven at 350 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes. Her recipe, she actually makes a round cake, so she uses 2 round pans, but I don't have any of those, so I just decided to use this one cake pan that I found. Then we're moving directly on to some pizza dough. We wanted to cook his favorite things for his birthday celebration. And one of those favorite things happens to be pizza. So I was just getting some dough started. This is not a sourdough recipe. It's just a recipe that I found on allrecipes.com, and I will link it below. It was super, super simple. It just has yeast and water and a bit of sugar and salt, and then I think we added some olive oil and the flour, and then I just let it sit. It was super, super easy and very tasty. So here my husband is just taking over for me because I am feeling pretty pregnant these days, and some days I'm not able to do as much as I would like to, and so I just wasn't feeling very well, so he was very gracious and kind to take over the pizza dough making. So he's just adding in the rest of the ingredients, and then he's going to knead it all together, and then we just let it sit. I believe the recipe says that you can cook it within about 30 minutes, but I wanted mine to rise for a while, so I don't remember exactly, but I know I let mine sit for a few hours just to rise. So once you're done mixing everything together, it's nice because it's pretty hands-off. You can just get it going and then put some towels over it and just leave it going for a while. So this is another really good idea if you are trying to throw a birthday celebration on a budget. I just took a bunch of pictures of our little guy that we have around the house, set those around the table, put the glasses out. Those plates came from the Dollar Tree as well as the forks. I just put everything out. We already had those trucks for him, the candles I got from the Dollar Tree. The goal of this cake was supposed to be a big dirt pile, and the excavator is dumping it into the dump truck. So anyways, it was a sweet celebration, and I think that he enjoyed it, and it was affordable. So thanks so much for being here and for watching this video. I hope that it maybe gave you some ideas for a birthday celebration on a budget maybe, or even some meals and food made from from scratch. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll make sure to link all of the recipes down below. And yeah, thanks so much for being here. Remember, you're fully loved and fully known by your Creator, and I'll see you in the next one.